You understand? But World Rugby also is messing up. It is sending so many guys. This gentleman from Uganda, Godwin Tonchu, he was telling me, listen, we should have like a rugby made in Africa, where we make ourselves important. In short, even if Wakina Sasha and staff go to the World Rugby Council, maybe there's a World Cup in France, they are not seated at the table. The guys who are seated at the table, the big minis, the guys with the money. We have the France, we have the what. There's another discussion we're having with someone. Like South African Rugby Union spent close to about, I don't know how many hundreds, 200 of millions to push their schools, rugby, universities and stuff. The amount of money that comes from World Rugby to the whole of Africa is about 21 million US dollars. It's about 10% of what South Africa spends on their own, on their rugby. Then, South Africa will be given, like for example, they send about 24 million US dollars. South Africa will be given 21 because, go figure, they are the number one in Africa. Then the rest of Africa is given 3 million US dollars. Do you honestly believe that they really care about us? They don't really care about us. Why can't you guys tell all the Kenyans, all the promoters, all the what, to just do one big major dunda?
Wow.
Because this time unafika huko unapata one guy has a dunda in Kayole, another guy has a dunda sijui where, another guy has a dunda where. So you want, and these guys are fighting over the same crowd that comes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Why can't you guys just tell the promoters? And this thing I've been talking ever since Vegas. Vegas, you go, there's this dunda, CPR is doing a very good dunda. They don't know which DJs, which what. There's another dunda next door. There's another dunda, Planet Hollywood. There's another dunda. So you find every dunda you go, you find there are only about 50 guys in a dunda. Does it warrant, let's say, for example, if let's say you qualified top 8, do you think the noise could have been the same? Do you think we'll have just had stadiums all over the world as Kenyans?
Origi, I think the issue here, the issue here, I think the bone of contention is not the adjustment of the format. Well, it is the adjustment of the format at the end of the tail end. At the tail end. Hata afadhali wangesema from the beginning, like Ali had suggested, either you say moving forward, coming next year.
Yes.
This will be the format.
So from the beginning of the season, unajua musipomaliza top 8,
yes,
you will be dropped.
Or before the season started, mnasema this is going to be the format. If you don't fika over here, mnaingia division 2 na kuna division 3 and this will be the format.
Yeah. Calling from Kenya.
Welcome to the OneMicShow.
Tell us your name. Yeah, tell us your name.
Whose number that is.
You guess for us.
Is my name.
You got welcome.
Arigi Obiero.
Is that Arigi?
Mnaongea. I cannot call here for 2 hours and then bado mnaongea stories zenyu hapo hivyo.
Omera pole bwana. Had we known, so ungesema it was you. What is?
Pole Arigi, talk to us. This time kwanza huku nipiga picha hata.
But you guys are using a booth bwana, unapiga unaambia ngojea mteja sijui kwa Sasa unajua nimeiba namba ya jirani, so nasema niongee haraka.
Okay.
Fanya.
You guys have a nice conversation and the conversations are a bit tricky the way some of you guys are explaining them. Number one, there was that thing of hosting a leg.
Yes.
Am I still on?
Yes. Hosting a leg.
Hosting a leg, yes.
Bwana, Kareke.
Hosting a leg of sevens is very, very tricky. Reasons, I'll give you some of the reasons. Number one, first of all, the country has to come. You see, like the way Safari Rally comes here, nini na vitu kama hiyo. You see how the government actually muggers the resources to just have the Safari Rally happening.
Yes.
Now, that thing has to also happen again if it has to host a leg of the sevens. Because anywhere you go in the world, Nigeria has been all over. Konya has been all over. You will notice there are so many things that actually move. There are so many moving parts. Number one, security. Number two, hoteling. The hotels we have in Kenya, especially in Nairobi, even if we decided we want to take it to Mombasa, most of the time you'll find it is peak season in Mombasa. Correct?
Yes.
Now, let's look at about 12 teams. 12 teams coming down. 12 teams by roughly about 20. That's about 320. Alafu ongeza watu wa rugby and the rest na nini. You're working with closely about 400 people coming down. Where are those guys going to be hosted? You get what I mean? So, and if you count the hotels, even if we took all the hotels in Mombasa, since I've had someone saying about low altitude, high altitude and stuff, the best place will be Mombasa. Even if we are going to house all those guys for just 1 week, the government has to come in, the county has to come in, basically all those resources have to come in. Do we have enough hotel beds to cover 400 people in Mombasa alone? But they consider it is peak time in Mombasa then. Okay. So would I take the money, Gava inakuja kupatia 2,000 bob per night, meanwhile, there's a tourist who's going to pay something close to about $400 a night. You get?
Wow.
That is one.
Yeah.
Training pitches. Do we have enough training pitches in this country?
See.
Because these guys have to be training, let's say, from Monday until Friday before the tournament happens.
Correct.
Yeah.
Do we have enough training pitches that are up to standard? You get? So the only place that probably could host is Nairobi. But then again, Nairobi, do we have a stadium that can host that thing perfectly? Yeah, stadium is a mess. Kasarani, I don't know, they're constructing. The only thing we have to wait for is Talanta Hela. But then again, the government has to come in and say, hii pesa tunamwaga kwa rugby. You get? But the government would rather do soccer than do rugby because of numbers. You guys basically understand.
Yes.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, hiyo tutawacha baadaye. Kama mtu ako na swali, aseme tusikie. Number 2, rugby in LA. Bloody hell. That place is bloody expensive.
It is. It is.
I went, in fact, before I reached, I spoke to Konya and I told Konya, skiza man. Mimi sijaelewa logistics ya hiyo town vile nakaa because kitambo, I think the teams used to stay at Marriott or something like that, correct? And which is near the stadium.
Yeah.
This time around, when you look at where the teams are playing, where the men are staying and where the girls are staying, this time, we had 2 teams.
Correct.
By the time unatoka kwa Konye, uende huko kwa hoteli because you have to go follow them training, you have to go take pictures and stuff. It's $100 and something. Hiyo ni kwenda peke yake.
You're talking Uber, not haujarudi.
So in
You're talking Uber.
Hiyo ni cost ya Uber or taxi or whatever.
Hiyo ni Uber. Hiyo ni Uber.
Yeah.
Sasa by the time utoke kwa Konye uende kupiga picha, the guys are training, umelipa rent. Hiyo kitu ni mbaya.
Wow.
Wacha kucheka bwana.
Watu
wanaumia hapa bwana.
No, watu wanaumia.
No, he's right.
I've been listening to you guys from around, I don't know, 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
Unasikia? So, it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Even if it went back to, if you ask me, I wish it had gone back to Vegas because everyone wants to go to Vegas, na nini, na vitu kama hiyo, which would be nice. Kitu ingine nimesikia watu wakisema juu ya Vegas niyo dunda. Why can't you guys tell all the Kenyans, all the promoters, all the world to just do one big major dunda?
Wow.
Because this time unafika huko unapata one guy has a dunda in Kayole, another guy has a dunda sijui where, another guy has a dunda where. So you want, and these guys are fighting over the same crowd that comes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Why can't you guys just tell the promoters? And this thing I've been talking ever since Vegas. Vegas, you go, there's this dunda, CPR is doing a very good dunda. They don't know which DJs, which what. There's another dunda next door. There's another dunda, Planet told you, there's another dunda. So you find, every dunda you go, you find there are only about 50 guys in a dunda. But imagine if you guys had done one dunda in one major place so that all these guys attract everyone to come to the same dunda. It will be really nice. You get?
Okay.
Now, the bone of contention here, I know is about that thing of, what is it called? Kenya being pulled a rug, a quick one and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just a question I want to throw. I don't know how you guys will discuss it. Let's say if New Zealand had finished number 9 and Fiji had finished number 10. Let's say number 10.
Yeah.
And Kenya finished 7. Do you think World Rugby could have still said, you know what, maximum 8 teams?
Absolutely
0.
not.
Wangesema 10 ama
Absolutely.
12.
Wangesema all 12.
Sema kumi bila break.
No way.
Yes.
No way. I don't think that would have happened.
But but listen, if you look at it, what rugby I think had started warning guys, because me I heard of that story when we were in Cape Town. One of those media guys came and told us, hey, but World Rugby is thinking of cutting the numbers. So it constantly was a rumor that World Rugby is considering, World Rugby is thinking, World Rugby is, I don't know, doing what.
Yeah.
If you ask me, both the Kenyan men and women, they actually qualified for the HSBC. Because if you look at it, we finished top 4.
Correct. Yes.
You understand? In this other challenger, whatever it is. What I felt sad for the girls was, for the first time in the history of rugby in this country, the women actually had made it into HSBC. You get? Now, the issue is, this thing was just pulled gafla. Even if we go shout, we go do what, it's going to be very hard for us now to qualify to become top 8. If you ask me, and I know it's an unpopular opinion, why did we finish number 9? We could have finished number 8. So that way, even if World Rugby decide to pull a rank on us and do what, sisi tuko ndani. But then again, does it warrant, let's say for example, if let's say we qualified top 8, do you think the noise could have been the same? Do you think we'll have just had stadiums all over the world as Kenyans?
Origi, I think the issue here, the issue here, I think the bone of contention is not the adjustment of the format. Well, it is the adjustment of the format at the end of the tail end. At the tail end. Hata afadhali wangesema from the beginning, like Ali had suggested, either you say moving forward, coming next year.
Yes.
This will be the format.
So from the beginning of the season, unajua musipomaliza top 8,
yes,
you will be dropped.
Or before the season started, mnasema this is going to be the format. If you don't fika over here, mnaingia division 2 na kuna division 3 and this will be the format.
Yeah. So ikitu inakuja last minute.
It's last minute. Kwanza after our girls,
right before the tournament.
After our girls, Kwanza have already won the Challenger series, and all we knew is all we needed to do was win our games.
Yes. Yeah.
Fika hapa na utakuwa ndani.
Yeah.
And
all
then
that hard work.
A day or two before the career.
Yeah.
Hiyo ndio rag. I think that is the bone of contention.
Issue you up.
Hiyo tu.
Okay, but listen. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. There were rumors floating around, and I think some of these, unions or whatever, or some of the teams, some were given an inkling. Because by Madrid, there's a group, where guys, one of those groups for the legends and stuff, someone actually said that this thing of top 8 teams, I don't know what, was about to start, I think, 2026 or whatever, but there was a confusion. Whether it's 2025, 2026, or 2026, 2027. The rumor was basically floating around. You get?
Yeah.
But, World Rugby, whichever way they go, that is the decision they've done. Because by the time they're seeing what in New Zealand are pulling out of, have pulled the leg of HSBC because someone said no alcohol or whatever it is, and you find like,
Hello?
I think bundles imekwisha.
Simu imerudi.
Yeah.
No, I think it's
he's still there.
It's on our end over here.
It's on our end. Aya, ngoja kidogo Arigi tujaribu ku reconnect. But I think some of the points Arigi is bringing up, kuna zingine of course a lot of them are making sense. Zingine sikubaliani nazo, but these are things that now the union really needs to think about critically.
Yeah.
Have you got him back?
No, I'm waiting for this thing to connect.
Yeah. So those are the things that I think we need to think about critically.
Aregi, call back.
Yeah. Those are things that we need to think about. Yeah. So, but anyway, but before Aregi called, Njeri was in the middle of something.
I was summing up the experience. I was saying asante sana. Tumerudisha shukurani kwa the players and technical bench as well. For a good season. Of course, we would have hoped for top 8 finish, but they've given us something to be proud about. Another another thing I would like to say, because it would be a pity not to, is that there are a lot of fans that show up all over the world, Asante Sana, but there's also a core group of people that show up everywhere, and I think they deserve a mention. People like Bamo, people like Evans, people like Sachit. I mean, they show up everywhere, and Konye, of course. Come on, you cannot leave out Konye. But really, those folks are part of the brigade. Now, Arigi Merudi. I will finish my comments afterwards.
Arigi, pole sana boss.
Haya, Arigi, wrap this up for us. Hata pia si tulale.
Nilikuwa nimefika wapi? Nilisikia mpaka mahali nilisema caller, are you there?
No, tukusikia hiyo caller, are you there?
Okay, then I think I have to go a bit back. What was I talking about? Okay, basically I was talking about, rugby has a way of doing its own things. The other day when you're coming back from LA, I managed to meet the chairman of Uganda, who's a friend of mine, as well as Sasha and stuff. But the guy told me, World Rugby doesn't really care about Africa.
No,
the only way we can make ourselves, you've heard of, and he actually told me, and this was his exact word. He said, you've heard of football made in Germany, correct?
Yes.
You've heard of football made in Brazil, football made in wherever it is. How come there's no rugby made in Africa? So, and that's what I keep saying.
Food for thought.
And the reason why I asked you guys that very simple, a bit convoluted question. If Fiji had finished number 9, and probably New Zealand had finished number 10, and Kenya had finished number 8, do you think World Rugby could have changed their minds? We are not sure because we really don't know. World Rugby will keep on saying that, it's expensive and stuff. But when you travel and you happen to be the World Rugby guys, maybe you've taken the same flight and stuff, those guys can send half a plane. Almost all of them are flying business class. All of them are staying in 5-star hotels. You can imagine the amount of money they're being paid just to be there. Which countries were saying, or rather some media guys were talking about, they were saying, why can't World Rugby just let, for example, let LA run their show? They can just send a few guys to monitor and make sure everything is right. When you go to New Zealand, guys who've been running rugby tournaments, let them send a few guys and do all that. Because some of the guys you see at the World Rugby, the media guys, the guys of doing all those, of course there are some that are critical to keep the data, the numbers and stuff and the rules. Fine. But you find these guys are almost like cronies. You find former players that's being sent all over the world. Okay, Siko Obaya, but why would someone like Serevi be sent, amelipo business class, amefanya nini, anakaa hoteli big time na nini kuja, and you find it's not only one guy. There are like about 10 or 15 or 20 former players being sent somewhere. We already know them, they already played. Fine, you can give them a complimentary. If you come for this tournament, utaka VIP, whatever it is. You understand? But World Rugby also is messing up. It is sending so many guys. This gentleman from Uganda, Godwin Tonchu, he was telling me, listen, we should have like a rugby made in Africa, where we make ourselves important. In short, even if Wakina Sasha and staff go to the World Rugby Council, maybe there's a World Cup in France, they are not seated at the table. The guys who are seated at the table, the big ninis, the guys with the money. We have the France, we have the what. There's another discussion we're having with someone. Like South African Rugby Union spend close to about, I don't know how many hundreds, 200 of millions to push their schools, rugby, universities and stuff. The amount of money that comes from World Rugby to the whole of Africa is about $21 million. It's about 10% of what South Africa spends on their own, on their rugby. Then, South Africa will be given, like for example, they send about $24 million. South Africa will be given 21 because, go figure, they are the number one in Africa. Then the rest of Africa is given $3 million. Do you honestly believe that they really care about us? They don't really care about us. So the only way we can become stronger so that you can say, even us can host something or anything like that, is if we say, listen, let us have, there'll be the World Cup, there'll be the World, but we start having our own tournaments where we control our own revenue and stuff. Because the last I had, South African Rugby actually told World Rugby, you can F off. You're not giving us any money that is what? We develop everything. You get? So it doesn't make sense. So in reality, if you ask me, Africans, or not really Africans, but these other small teams, we are our own enemies. The best we can do is just come together and then decide we are going to do this. Safari Sevens, over 10, 15, 20 years ago, was one of the biggest tournaments in also, in World Rugby. Teams used to try and fight to just come and play Safari Sevens. To build that Safari Sevens will take an arm and a leg, but we can get there. After that, that is where now we can say, now we can now start knocking and telling World Rugby, we want one leg of this Safari Sevens back here. If you have ever gone, Jerry, you've been to South Africa, correct? In Cape Town. Do you know when you go to that stadium, when South Africa is playing, that stadium is packed. When South Africa is not playing, where are the fans? They're all out, eating nyama, whatever, drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
You understand? But when you come to a Safari Sevens, we get guys who don't even know rugby, but they're just there. Tumekaa tu either ni kuimba, kufanya nini na vitu kama hiyo. So it is something that can be built. You understand? Nadhani nimesema ya kutosha. Konye and all the other goons who've been going all over the world, you guys cheers. I know back in the day we started that Kenya corner. No one knew Konye was going to chase it. But ours was a bit mad. Konye, cheers, man. I don't know what you go through, but after I stayed at your place and you guys are waking up, I don't know, at 5 a.m., siju kubeba chuma, muziki, munasumbua neighbors, kudos my guy. Jerry, tutaonana tena, whatever it is. Ninyi wengine wote itabidi muende tour. Wacheni mambo munaongea hapa hivi si. Tudeni tour mjue vile iko na dhambi. Anyway, cheers guys. Good job you're doing that.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate it, legend.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So we had to make that exception. That was a Arigi.